What's up, everybody, and welcome back once again to Luke Zach Football here. Today's video I'm going to be doing my post-week 2 USFL Power Rankings video. But before we get into that, make sure to subscribe and sack that like button if you haven't already. So yeah, let's begin. So week 2 of the USFL came to a close yesterday afternoon. I made my week 1 Power Rankings last week. You can go and check those out if you want, but these are the updated ones for week 2. So let's begin. Coming in at number 8, I have the Pittsburgh Maulers again, staying in last place. The Pittsburgh Maulers showed some improvement this week in week 2. They were able to score some points offensively, but their defense looked worse than the week before. Pittsburgh Maulers, the quarterback played very tough. He played resiliently. I'm talking about Josh Love. But his receivers just, kept dropping the ball. There was a lot of drops in that game for them. A lot of drops around the league. But yeah, coming in at number 7, I have the Michigan Panthers, led by quarterback Shea Patterson. They played the Generals and they lost again. They fought a 0-2. At least this time with the Panthers, their defense showed some strides, even though they had played well the week before. That's the only thing that's looking bright for this team. Their defense is just keeping them in games and is really just shutting down their opponent. But their offense can't get anything going, and it's really not Shea Patterson's fault. I mean, Shea Patterson's running for his life every play. Every play I feel like because I watched the entirety of both of their games for the most part, and every game, and he's just almost every snap running out of the pocket for his life, having to throw it on the run. He needs some offensive line help. He needs his receivers to help him make plays, but at least they have a defense that's keeping them in games. Coming in at number 6, this was the shocker. The Tampa Bay Bandits, they fall from 3rd to 6th in today's rankings. In this week's rankings, the Tampa Bay Bandits, after an impressive Week 1 showing, especially on the defensive side of the ball, got completely blown out. The first real blowout of the season of this USFL reboot. They got beat 34-3 by the Breakers, who we'll get to later. But yeah, the Bandits couldn't get anything going offensively. Their defense was getting pummeled. Jordan Tamu just did not look good at all. And this was a team that I thought was going to be right up there in the mix, but now I'm thinking maybe they may not even be better than the Panthers, but time will tell. Coming in at number 5, the Houston Gamblers, staying where they were at. I thought worst of the Houston Gamblers. I know they lost this week, but I'm almost more impressed with the loss they just had than the win they had last week, because they were able to battle back and go back and forth with the Birmingham Stallions, with the huge advantage of the home crowd with them, and the Gamblers were able to hang in there, and the quarterback Clayton Thorson showed great resiliency. He got benched for throwing 2 interceptions, then he got benched, then he came back in due to the backup getting injured, and he played pretty darn well. He made an impressive throw on the run for a touchdown from around the 50-yard line, so that was impressive. Coming in at number 4, I got the New Jersey Generals staying put. The Generals won this week in a very defensive-oriented game. Their defense played better this week. Their offense really struggled, though. With DeAndre Johnson was having trouble. Luis Perez played pretty efficient for the most part, but he got pulled a lot throughout the game, so it's very hard to evaluate either of those quarterbacks. But the running game continued to look good despite the overall offensive troubles. Then coming in at number 3, the Philadelphia Stars, who moved up a few spots in this week. They were able to get the win over the Pittsburgh Maulers, who I believe is the worst team, but the Philadelphia Stars were able to overcome a couple of turnovers and some adversity, and they were able to put up a lot of points on the board in that win, and their defense got the stops when they really needed to. So overall, the Stars had an impressive showing, and quarterback Brian Scott played one heck of a game, throwing for a few touchdowns, and just had a fumble recovery that was returned, but he played very well. Coming in at number 2, the Birmingham Stallions, once again, they got that win over the Houston Gamblers, where their offense just looked virtually unstoppable. One thing that's going big for the Stallions is they're pretty much playing every game at home, because every game of every team is played in the same stadium in Birmingham, and obviously the Birmingham Stallions have the biggest fan base in Birmingham, so that's a huge advantage for them. But they just also, to add to it, just look like a strong overall team. Then coming in at number one, the New Orleans Breakers once again hold the spot. New Orleans Breakers already got to 2-0. They beat the Tampa Bay Bandits, whose defense looked like the best defense in the league, but they just completely shredded it apart in a 34-3 victory. The Bandits had no answer for the Breakers' rushing attack, and even quarterback showed tremendous leadership, fighting through a couple of different injuries and groin injuries. He kept fighting. Kyle Slaughter just looked overall like a great leader and is one of the top MVP frontrunners. All these quarterbacks, though, are playing tremendously well. More on that in a second. But then also, Jonathan Adams, how about him making several acrobatic catches, some for touchdowns, others for big gainers? He was looking acrobatic. Those were looking like NFL type of catches. Jonathan Adams, I think, is right now so far the standout receiver in the league. He's just making acrobatic catches left and right, and he's just really fun to watch. And then also, David Bellamy, I think, is the best trash talker in the whole USFL. He's a linebacker for the Breakers. You know, on the mic'd up, he's just constantly talking trash to people, but it is so funny, and he is able to back it up with his play. But overall, I mean, I'm really impressed with the quarterback play. Some people were bashing the quarterbacks, but no, these quarterbacks are playing really well. They're not getting a lot of help from receivers and offensive line, but I mean, all of them. Kyle Slaughter is playing great. Jamar Smith is playing great. Brian Scott is playing great. Luis Perez and DeAndre Johnson are both playing well. Clayton Thorson has had his ups and downs, but he's been impressive. Jordan Tamu, a little bit shaky in both games. Shea Patterson, shaky, but I mean, I really don't feel that it's his fault. I think he may have the best potential out of all these quarterbacks. You got to remember, this guy was the starting quarterback for the Michigan Wolverines back in college, and he played really well there, and he was the #1 overall pick in the USFL draft. The Pittsburgh Maulers quarterback Josh Love has showed some pretty good accuracy, but his arm and mobility is definitely an issue. But again, he's played pretty solid too. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with the USFL so far. I'm really enjoying this. I hope you guys are too. But make sure to like this video if you enjoyed, and comment down below what you guys think about this past week of games. And other than that, I'll see you guys next time.